From toy swords to Nerf guns and gel blasters, here are 10 toy weapons that should be banned. Number 10. Derringer belt gun. This weird toy was released around the 1950s and it was a hit with young boys. The gun, which was hidden in a belt buckle, could fire a tiny plastic bullet encased in brass. When fired, the bullet could travel about 15 feet before coming to a stop. Another thing that made this toy unique is that kids could fire it from their crotch. They did this by pushing their stomachs out, and this in turn made the gun pop out of the belt buckle and fire around. You can tell this was a really bad idea, but kids were very intrigued by the idea of being able to fire the toy in such a way. There were several cases of the gun accidentally going off and causing some serious burns. The bullets fired from the gun occasionally went off course, and this led to several eye injuries. Number 9. Zulu Blowgun. Around the 1950s, the Zulu Blowgun became a much sought-after toy by kids. What made the toy so popular was that it allowed kids to shoot long and sharp darts just by blowing on it. These darts are strong enough to pierce through thick cardboard. To be honest, that's a big red flag. We all know that placing such a dangerous toy in the hands of kids is a disaster waiting to happen. According to the box in which the toy comes packed in, it's completely harmless. Well, contrary to this, there have been cases of kids accidentally inhaling the darts and choking on them. There is also the risk of accidentally aiming the toy at another person and seriously injuring them with the darts. So in all honesty, the Zulu Blowgun is a toy that deserves to be discarded in the trash bin. Number 8. Rubber band machine gun. As kids, some of us engaged in rubber band fights, but there's a limit to how many you can stretch and shoot at a time. This is why someone came up with a rubber band machine gun. What a great idea! Not! The rubber band machine gun can shoot rubber bands at a rate of 14 shots a second. Imagine around 50 elastic bands hurtling at you at the same time and smacking you in the face, eyes, or other exposed parts of your body. Man, that would definitely hurt. Clearly, the toy makers didn't think about this when creating this toy. The wooden and hand-assembled toy machine gun also looks very much like a Gatling gun. An electric motor rotates at 17 barrels, which hold as many as 200 elastic bands. This gun is not something kids should be playing around with. If you think these were dangerous, things are about to get more dangerous. Keep watching to see what's next. Number 7. Toy slingshots. Slingshots are popular and have been around for a long time. They can shoot ammunition with great force at targets, and they're ideal for outdoor uses. But slingshots come with risks. The slingshot band can slip out of its frame while in use, and when this happens, the ball or ammunition can strike and injure the user. Also, when kids decide to aim at human targets, whether on purpose or by accident, the result isn't always good. Injuries like blinded eyes and broken teeth are quite common. A person could also lose their life depending on the type of fired projectile and the part of the body it hits. People have also been making use of water balloon slingshots because it seems harmless, but what they don't know is that these slingshots can launch water balloons at a speed of up to 230 miles per hour, and so they have the potential to also cause serious injuries. Apart from this, leftover balloon parts can cause choking hazards, especially among young children when accidentally swallowed. Number 6. Nerf Zombie Strike Deadbolt Crossbow. So, someone decided to take an ancient weapon of war and turn it into a toy for kids. The Nerf Crossbow looks like something that shouldn't be in the hands of adults, not to talk of kids. The toy was officially announced in January 2017, and it features an integrated shoulder stock. 5 darts can be loaded at once above the shaft, but these darts can only be fired once at a time. The toy also features an indicator in front of the scope, which turns orange when an arrow is loaded. This indicator is useful for letting the user know that they've loaded an arrow properly. In addition to this, there's also the presence of a single short tactical rail. And what's more, each fire dart can travel about 50 feet before coming to a stop, and that's quite some distance. Most people have handled the toy gun seem to agree that shooting is quite accurate. The toy's packaging also warns users not to aim or shoot at people's eyes or faces, but you can trust some kids not to heed these warnings. Number 5. Austin Magic Pistol. The Austin Magic Pistol is a space gun toy that became popular around the 1940s. It could fire ping pong balls. This was made possible by the use of a dangerous chemical known as calcium carbide. When the chemical comes in contact with water, it creates an explosive reaction that produces the needed force to propel the projectile. Just a little bit of spit is also enough to cause the reaction. The ping pong balls that were fired could travel about 70 feet and at a very great speed, making them them very dangerous. The thing is that injuries became quite rampant as people used the toys. Flames and sparks shooting out the end of the gun could burn the wrists of some users. If not handled properly, the mixture of calcium carbide and water could explode in people's faces and cause serious injuries. So, due to the danger the toy presented, the manufacturer had to stop its production. Presently, many states of the US now classify Austin Magic Pistol as a firearm and not a toy. Number 4. Toothpick crossbows. Originally from China, these toys work like traditional crossbows, but they're only smaller. The tiny toys can be gotten for as cheap as $1. They're designed to shoot toothpicks and are powerful enough to pierce cardboard and balloons. The toys can fit in one hand and be fired single-handed. They also have the ability to launch projectiles as far as 30 to 40 feet. If shooting toothpicks at high velocities were not dangerous enough, kids began to swap the toothpicks for even more dangerous objects such as nails and pins. In 2017, a 10-year-old from Zhangjiang, China was accidentally shot in the right eye by one of these toys. A classmate of his had been playing with the toy when a toothpick went straight into his eyeball. The boy suffered damage to his cornea, and doctors told his mother that even if treatment was effective, there was no way to fully restore his vision. Following the obvious danger that the toys presented, concerned parents voiced out and called for a ban of the toys. Starting now, things get even worse. Keep watching until the end. Number 3. Gel blasters. These popular toy guns are propelled by a spring-loaded air pump mechanism and allow kids to shoot water gel pellets. These gel pellets are harmless, but when shot through the toy guns, they can cause severe injuries. In addition to this, people began freezing these gel balls to inflict maximum damage. In 2019, a 14-year-old girl was rushed to the hospital after being hit in the left eye by a gel pellet. The gel ball was fired from approximately 32 feet away, and the boy was left in excruciating pain. He also experienced vomiting and suffered a partial loss of sight in the eye. This was because his cornea had a 3mm scratch on it. Doctors also discovered that the pressure inside the affected eye was about 3 times as high as in the healthy eye. He spent 3 weeks recovering in the hospital, and even after the injury healed, he began to develop cataracts due to how severe the damage was done to his eye. Luckily for him, he went on to fully recover, but the eye still needed monitoring and treatment from time to time. Well, apart from the injuries associated with gel blasters, there's also a concern that they might be mistaken for real guns. Number 2. Nerf guns. These are without a doubt one of the world's most famous toys. They're fun to play with, but then if proper safety measures are not put in place, they can cause some very serious injuries. In 2018, 9-year-old Taylor J. Ravinci from Swansea in Wales was playing in his home when he got shot in the right eye by a foam pellet from a Nerf gun. The eye became filled with blood, and after he was rushed to the hospital, it was discovered that the eye was beyond saving. Doctors told his parents that the damaged eye was causing a buildup of pressure, and he risked losing sight in both eyes if the damaged one was not promptly removed. Due to this, Taylor had to undergo surgery to remove it, and he spent more than a month recovering in the hospital. 6 years earlier, when he was 3, he had been hit in the same eye by a toy arrow, but at the time it wasn't something that serious. There are other countless cases of injuries associated with Nerf guns, so you should definitely think twice the next time before you want to pick up one of these toys in the store. Number 1. Toy sword. Toy swords come in different designs and sizes and can make your kids feel like daring knights from the Middle Ages, or maybe a samurai of medieval Japan. But accidents can happen when kids start poking these toy swords in places that they shouldn't be poking them. In 2008, a 3-year-old kid, Ellis Price, was playing a harmless game dressed as a superhero when he slipped and impaled himself on his toy sword. He began to scream in pain, and this attracted the attention of his mother, who was shocked by the state in which she found him. A Halton Housing Trust employee who was also attracted by the noise rushed to the scene and managed to calm the boy, as well as his mother, who was already very upset by the whole situation. He then asked her to call an ambulance. While they waited for the arrival of the ambulance, the employee looked after Ellis. His injury was so serious because the sword had stuck to his groin. When the ambulance arrived, the injured boy was quickly taken to a hospital where the sword was removed and he was stitched up. His life was saved, but doctors feared that he might not ever be able to have kids in the future. Enjoyed the video? Now watch this one.